Hello, and welcome back to Half-Life Alyx with some trash floating in my face. We just started the game in the previous episode. There was a little bit of a rant on running VR in Linux. And we just passed the first level with the first batch of the developer commentary that we are also going for. And a little bit of a letdown was an ending of an episode that ended in a game crashing on a loading screen. And my brief research shows that it's not entirely consistent behavior, so it might crash on loading or might not. We'll see how it goes. In any case, if that is going to happen further down the line, I will likely just restart the game and I will try to cut the episodes in a way so that you do not notice these crashes. But I will make sure to let you know if this behavior is consistent or not, so that you can see how my mileage may vary, or how yours may vary. With that being said, let us continue with entanglement.
Where are you taking me? Where's my father? Hello? Damn it, where's my father?
Tell her to stop moving around back there. Stop moving. What is that? Get it! It's under the fire! Get it! Power forward!
In order to limit the possibility of motion sickness that could be induced by moving the player in a vehicle, we initially wrote this scene to have Alyx wake up after the van had already crashed. Players found this underwhelming, however, since the game seemed to be needlessly holding back an exciting moment that they could have experienced for themselves. Addressing this meant that we had to tackle the technical problem of moving the player comfortably in a vehicle. In this van, and in the train at the end of the map, you'll notice that the outside world is only visible through small windows. These outside views are necessary to provide motion parallax, but the small window size ensures that the player's field of view is always dominated by the vehicle interior, which is naturally in the player's own frame of reference. This greatly reduces the occurrence of motion sickness. Aside from the parallax of the outside world, we use animated lighting and careful sound design to produce the effect of riding in a vehicle.
You have been in an accident. Take the headset.
Alyx, you there? You've got to get moving.
Russell? I've been in an accident.
I know! I caused it, so technically not an accident. You've got to get moving.
Wait, where's Dad?
He's fine. Follow the drone.
So, Dad's okay, right?
Yeah, well, no. To be honest, he's in huge trouble.
But,
They've still got him. He was in a separate transport.
and you saved me?
Well, yes. I had no way of knowing who was in which van, so yes, the result was that I saved you.
Do we know where they're taking him?
Criminal holding. And then, when they realize he's Eli Vance, it's over Prospect. But I'm already working on a plan to get him back. You're close to my lab. Keep following the drone. We'll figure out what to do.
As far as I'm aware, Bricky took this dead rat over there and carried her all the way to the end of the game. So that must be a fun watch after I'm done with Alyx, or sometime during it. We'll see.
Where the last map was focused on conveying a lot of information about the world state to the player, this map is where we need to start the player's larger quest. That means the player must leave this map with an understanding of what's happened to Eli, and what they're going to do about it. The player also needs to meet Russel, so they have a face behind all the radio dialogue throughout the game. Finally, we need the player to collect the gravity gloves and the pistol and learn how to use them both. This is a daunting list. From experience, we know that if we cram all that into a single scene, players won't be able to remember more than a couple highlights. So this map's purpose is essentially narrative pacing. We need to draw apart the required events, separating them with enough time and space that players could ingest and remember them. At the same time, we're a little under the gun. Playtesting showed us that by now, some players have been playing for 30 minutes, and they're wondering when they're going to see some enemies.
Ha, it took me an hour for the first episode. Oh, that is not good. That is a bad hinge. How did... Oh, I have a choice of teleport if needed. Okay.
One of the first steps the writing team took on this map was to flesh out a scene between Russel and Alyx that covered all the dialogue we needed. Due to the fact the player is meeting Russel for the first time, and that there are a significant number of in-fiction events that Alyx and Russel need to talk about, the scene ended up containing a lot of dialogue. We knew there was no way we could build a scene that long without boring the player, and the most important elements would be lost in the noise. One of the first tools we used to address this was the introduction of Russell's drone. It allowed us to take chunks of the dialogue from that original scene and deliver them throughout the area preceding the scene. This meant the scene itself could skip over the in-fiction preliminaries and get right to the critical goal delivery.
That is a thick cable. Some Sigis over there. Some perishables over here. This is not the car I can open.
Russell, what did you guys find back there?
Well, that's the crazy thing. I don't know. Just blurry pictures of a building.
The Citadel?
No, something else. And whatever it is, they're gonna kill anybody who saw it. And anybody who knows anybody who saw it. Which means us and your dad.
Russell, just hang on. I'm almost there.
There is some stutter right now, and the image quality falls a little bit apart, but hopefully it's just how it streams for me.
In addition to delivering narrative at a consumable pace, this map needed to continue communicating the state of the world outside of the quarantine zone. We also wanted players to understand when Half-Life Alyx takes place in the larger Half-Life timeline, and to see for themselves the massive scale of the Citadel under construction. The power of the Combine is embodied in their indifference towards humanity. They've conquered Earth with little effort and are now plundering it for their own ends. They put a modicum of effort into their propaganda, but it's ultimately uncaring. Later in Half-Life 2, we see Breen's attempts to talk to humanity with more seriousness, but it's unclear whether that directive comes from the Combine or if it's just Breen's attempts to be useful to them. Meanwhile, the Combine construction is brutally efficient. The Citadel's pervasive feeder cables make no attempt to fit into the lives of the residents as the Combine drains the city of its power. Within this playground, a nostalgic nod to Half-Life 2, This enormous cable has been run right through the mural on the wall, demonstrating the Combine's total lack of interest in the history behind the city.
Yeah.
Alex, everything cut out for a second. I lost the headset video feed. Can you see my drone? Is it okay?
Sure. Yeah, I'll be there in a minute.
Almost got trampled by a freaking strider. Push and hold while moving. Oh, okay. Can I jump down?
Alex? Alex, you still there?
Got it. Wait, what? This one. That bone crunchy sound. Ugh. Horrible.
Alex, everything cut out for a second. I lost the headset video feed. Can you see my drone? Is it okay?
Sure. Yeah, I'll be there in a minute.
Okay. Oh, so I can do that. Though there are no cables, it's not connected, so that's a little bit of a bummer. Please, stand by. Is it you playing? Okay, buttons are inoperative. That is weird light coming out of this thing. I mean, again, I played it, okay, so it's not like a secret where this dude's lab is for me.
Alyx, great. Okay, let's... Wait, my drone's okay, right?
No.
Nope, it exploded. I'm fine, by the way.
Right, good, well, that's the main.
Can I close it from this side? Okay, it closes automatically, that's good. I don't think this thing works. Russel, really useful something electronic, lightweight, levitating something. Hey, that's me.
Right from our earliest experiments in VR, we learned that players expect a high level of audio fidelity, even from minute interactions, particularly when the sounds are meant to correspond to clearly observable visuals. For instance, in one of our prior games, it may have been acceptable to use a generic sequence of computer key sounds when Russell was typing. In VR, however, we know that a player can observe the animations very closely, and even put their head right next to Russell's keyboard if they choose. In this case, players would notice a lack of one-to-one correspondence between the key press animation and sound. For Half-Life Alyx, we authored a set of individual key press sounds to be driven by animation. For example, as Russell's fingers animate to press a key, one of these key press sounds is played, resulting in precise synchronization of the animation and sound.
And if he gets on that train, that's it, right?
Not necessarily. Grab something that represents us.
Russell's laboratory is the first time the player is in the same room as another character, and it highlights one of the main challenges we face when designing choreographed scenes in VR, keeping the player and characters out of each other's space. In previous Half-Life games, we could always forcefully move the player if we really needed them out of the way. We made several attempts at finding a similar solution in VR, but found that it often made players feel deeply uncomfortable or disoriented. So instead, we designed these spaces to allow for a natural separation between the player and our characters. Where natural separators couldn't exist, we had to restrict players from moving into the character's space, removing that limitation as soon as the character had moved out of the way. Another challenge was balancing how often characters respond to player actions while delivering important narrative information. In early experiments, we allowed characters to stop mid-sentence, which allowed them to respond immediately to the player, and then continue on with their dialogue. While technically straightforward, this was incredibly difficult to execute in animation and dialogue without feeling unnatural. The combination of custom reactions necessary to cover the range of possible player interaction and the resulting return to narrative dialogue quickly multiplied out of control. Eventually, we settled on a solution where we allowed only a minimum of interactions during the important narrative delivery sections, and a wider range of responses to more complex reactions after the scene has completed. In the case of Russell, we layer subtle head facing and natural eye contact on top of his performance while he is talking with Alyx. Then, after the scene, when he is typing at the computer, he will respond to players trying to touch him or objects being thrown around.
Yeah, just grab anything.
Okay, let's look at your code. So this is supposed to be C++, right?
Anything will do.
I do not remember C++ that well. Add a slight vertical bonus to account for air resistance. Calculate initial velocities so the object arrives at the hand at the correct time and orientation.
Anything will do.
Flip downward gestures. Rotate the object's launch velocity around the axis of travel until it's aligned with the pull gesture direction. After rotating, reapply the vertical portion of the anti-gravity force that was lost to rotation.
Yeah, just grab anything.
How about a scout? Would scout work? Hey, you have really old apples over here, mate.
Yeah, just grab anything.
So yeah, I physically cannot enter your space, right? Yep, I'm limited. Wait, what?
Yeah, just grab anything. Okay, that's you.
I thought you said us.
Well, one of us, me, will have to stay here for this plan to work.
All right, fair enough.
Just outside, there's a second train that also leads out of City 17 through the quarantine zone.
Okay.
Both trains intersect here at Fairview Junction. You take your train, get there before his train, and hack into the controls. That'll let me take over the system. Train comes to a halt, you deal with the Combine situation, and we get your dad back.
Sounds good. Where's the train I'm taking?
Out the back, through the yard. It's decommissioned, but I think I can hack into its controls. Oh, and get yourself a pair of Russels on the way out.
Russels?
The what?
The gloves, Alyx. You know, the gravity gloves. I have a few sets through there. You can calibrate them out by the shed.
Got it.
We can do this, Alyx. You got that, didn't you, that I said we could do it? Because we're gonna do it.
Yeah, we are.
I'm with you every step of the way.
So now you will be typing and I can interact with you, right? Oh, this is horrible. Yeah, I don't like doing that. I do not. I'm like an impetuous child. Mate, I'm really sorry. I feel bad for what I'm doing. System error. Wonderful. From here to there, Dr. Isaac Kleiner. A pair of microwaves, because why not? Noise. This is a very small PCB area. I'm not sure how well this connection is. It's just a small... I don't know, maybe they're woven into the textile as well. How should I know? Right? Ooh. Ah, that wasn't that bad actually.
Alright, you know how this goes. There should be a bunch of junk down there. Aim at something with your hand open. Yep, you're tethered. Now close your hand. Registered. Now flick your wrist to bring it in. That's it. Great. Try again. You're attached. Make a grip.
One frustration players may encounter in VR is having to physically bend down or reach out for objects in the virtual world, especially if they have limited real-world space. A common solution for this is to provide a way to bring objects to the player instead of forcing the player to go to them. We knew this would be an important feature in Half-Life Alyx, with its sprawling levels and players' desire to explore every corner of the world. We didn't want this mechanic to feel too gamey or magical, so we decided to integrate it into the fiction of the game by making it a feature of the gravity gloves, which are a natural precursor to the gravity gun of Half-Life 2. This allowed us to present the mechanic as a real physical action that's enabled by a piece of in-fiction technology. To emphasize the physicality that is unique to the medium of VR, we used a physical gesture to activate the pull instead of a button press, and then required the player to actually catch the object instead of automatically attaching it to the hand. This made the mechanic feel more natural and rooted in the fiction of the game's universe, while allowing the player to feel powerful and accomplished.
Just point your hand at something.
There's a pigeon.
Yep, you're tethered. Make a grip.
When a player pulls an object with the gravity gloves, we use the game's physics engine to apply a launch force to that object with a trajectory that is partially influenced by the direction of the player's pull gesture. We set the object's launch velocity to result in a standard flight time from pull to catch, so the player can develop a rhythm that eventually becomes automatic. We want the object to arrive at the hand as reliably as possible, so after the initial launch we continually apply small impulse forces along the trajectory, represented by the white arrows. Those impulses help counter gravity and compensate for collisions with obstacles along the way, while continuously steering the object toward the hand, which is itself a moving target. A generous catch range and subtle haptic feedback when the object enters that range virtually guarantees that it will end up in the player's hand every time, even if their attention is focused elsewhere. One other benefit of implementing this with physics is that we didn't need to do custom handling for an object's size, mass, or inertia, and it automatically compensated for the non-standard gravity that players encounter inside the vault at the end of the game.
This is a very nice thing that, like, regardless of your distance, so
Just
the
a little
time.
flick of the wrist. Try catching it. Boom. Yep. Yep. One more time. That's it. Perfect. We're done. Oh, wait. I almost forgot.
Alyx, up here! You're gonna need a gun! Don't worry, it's unloaded. It's unloaded now! Pick up the gun, Alyx. Oh, almost forgot. Guns need ammo. Here you go.
Ha! Mag Snacker.
Right, heading back to the pod room.
Oh my. Oh god. Okay, that will... Okay, I cannot let it go apparently, right? So I'm always... I'm now always have a gun in my hand. Cool. Can I... No. Yep. Hey, come on.
Russell, I'm out.
Here you go.
Noise. Okay. Shall we give it a try?
Oh, you took care of that lock then. Good. Great. Did have the key for it, but should have given you that. That's on me.
The pigeon is gone. Okay. Let's finish this glass as well, since we started it. So you're saying that I have, what, 6 of them? Maybe 6. It's a bit unclear. There is also like this indicator here. No idea what that means. Huh? Oh. Search the environment for useful items. Store ammo in backpack by releasing over your shoulder. And...
Last mag.
Can I see? Yes, I can see. Okay. Yeah, I know that. Aww. Well, that's sad.
Alright, here we go. Next stop, Fairview Junction.
Thanks, Russell.
And good luck, Alyx. Goodbye. Obviously, just to let you know, I am still here, though.
I know.
So, will you crash or will you load normally?
Hello, Alyx? We might have a problem. Probably nothing to worry about, but... Did the train stop? It stopped, didn't it?
Yeah, what happened?
It's jammed. When the Combine shut down the quarantine zone, they must have tightened security.
Which means?
Yeah, you're nowhere near Fairview Junction. You're just outside the QZ. And this is as far as we get by train.
Then I'm headed on foot.
Good. I'll see if I can get you in some other way.
Yeah. And we encounter our first...
I got a dead zombie here. I thought the Combine sealed up the QZ.
This one must have squirted out. I've heard they've had trouble with barnacle spores outside the containment area. But not about fellas like this.
Probably not a one-off then.
I doubt it.
Just to be sure. You cannot judge me for that. Maybe there is a magazine or something? No? Okay. I do have my hard hat on me, so... Cannot jump over there, but I can go over in here.
Even in our earliest experiments in bringing Half-Life to VR, we found that players enjoyed exploring every nook and cranny of the environment. With the increased fidelity of VR, players not only expected to be able to interact with a vast array of objects, but they also had a strong desire to find something useful from time to time. This was so universal among testers that in addition to more searchable locations and interactive objects, we added a new resource, resin. Level designers could place this new resource in fun and interesting locations that weren't tied to game progression, rewarding players wider-ranging exploration. We also tied this new resource to a longer-term goal in the form of weapon upgrades, further motivating players to explore the environment. Deep scavenger hunts and keen observation would result in more resin to spend as a reward.
Ah, would you look at that? Resin. And if there's resin around here, there should be a Combine fabricator. Keep an eye out. We might be able to upgrade your firepower a bit.
Shit. This is getting a bit spooky. Authorized personnel only. I believe I am authorized enough. I have a hard hat. Hold to switch to multi-tool. Toner puzzles.
Internally, we refer to this type of puzzle as a toner puzzle, due to its similarity to a real-world cable toner tool that can be used to locate electrical wires in walls. The toner mechanic was conceived as a tool for designers to craft player experiences around knowing that the player had to put their head and hands in specific locations. The initial design merely required the player to use their multi-tool to push a ball of energy along a path, similar to a child's bead maze toy. While this simple design was successful at getting the player to put their head and hands in particular locations, the lack of branching meant that the player wasn't required to make any choices, nor was there any possibility of negative consequences. To address these issues, we added the rotating junction elements, which allowed for branching paths and became the player's primary means of interacting with toner puzzles. While the toner puzzles ramp up in complexity throughout the game, this first toner puzzle is designed to use a minimal number of elements to introduce players to the key ideas that power flows through wires, power can be rerouted by rotating junctions, and power has an effect on the physical world, such as turning on lights and opening gates. The sparking electrical outlet that branches down toward the floor is not strictly necessary for this simple puzzle, but it was added here to expose players to its behavior, since it was causing confusion in later puzzles when players were seeing it for the first time in more complex configurations.
Smart.
Alyx, that thing's incredible. You need an incredible brand name. Something that really sells it.
Who am I gonna sell it to?
The Combine's not going to be here forever. You should be thinking about the future, Alyx.
Well, how about I call it the Alyx?
It's a little derivative of the Russel, but yeah, provisionally, sure. The Alyx.
Yeah, Alyx.
Question is, if I... Nope.
Oh, a health station.
Russell, the Combine use these. Are they safe for people?
Yeah, I use them all the time.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they're great. Look, honestly, just pull the handle and put your hand in there.
Why can I not store this one? It just falls. This is so weird. So this one? Huh. Okay. Maybe only full ammo can go into... Oh no, we're gonna crush some bugs. Oh, backpack only stores full magazine.
Ow. Ow, ow, ow. Hey, you were right. These are great.
Zombie alert. Huh. Is that some sort of a resin indicator? Pick up heavy objects with both hands. Okay. I'm armed. Possibly dangerous. Okay. At least this immediate area is safe. So let's have a look. No. No. Have to actually jump for that thing. This is insane. Need to collect all the possible resin here. There is nothing here.
From our earliest experiments in VR, we realized how critical high-quality, high-density lighting was to conveying a sense of realism. In game development, any technology choice involves trade-offs between quality, runtime performance, and development time. For Half-Life Alyx, we chose a high-quality, high-performance light mapping solution which required a significant amount of offline preprocessing. We performed the light map preprocessing using a render farm, which could take several hours for a single map at the highest quality, and we put a lot of effort into mitigating the cost of that high iteration time for designers on the team. Specifically, we implemented a real-time approximation to the final lighting result, which allowed designers to light scenes in real time with confidence that the high-performance light maps would match their intent. Most lights in Half-Life Alyx are baked into a single term that describes distance falloff and shadowing, allowing us to change the brightness and color of lights in real time at no cost. This encoding also allows us to apply shadows from dynamic props and characters without having to render any static geometry into shadow maps. Our light maps store directional information using the popular ambient highlight direction encoding, an improvement over Valve's own radiosity normal mapping technique pioneered in Half-Life 2. This new light map encoding ensures that the bumpy surfaces can appear bumpy even when not under direct light. This blinking light source provides a good illustration of this technique, as you can perceive the surface detail even during times the light source is off.
Oh, careful of that barnacle, Alyx.
Ew. Oh no, don't do that. See, it does not highlight it, so it only... Yeah, when you probably put it... No. Okay, I don't understand. What does it do? Okay.
Barnacles, while an iconic Half-Life creature, presented some interesting VR-specific challenges. While their tongue is intended to trap hasty or unobservant players, those caught by them often didn't realize what was happening. They would become disoriented or even motion sick as the barnacle lifted them up to be eaten. These unfortunate players almost universally died, and failed to learn what was happening even after multiple encounters. To address this issue, we created the tongue as a particle system. This allowed us to both physically simulate it as well as reliably position it for maximum visibility. If a player does get grabbed by a barnacle, the tongue always wraps right in front of their face, no matter which direction they try to look. This makes the tongue almost impossible to miss and visually guides the player's eyes up to the location of the barnacle, so they know where to shoot to free themselves. These fixation visuals that kick in as the player is being lifted not only serve to communicate the damage the player is taking, but they also help to reduce motion sickness by narrowing the player's field of view. These changes, combined with sound effects and other visuals like seeing stars and blacking out, eliminate confusion for players and enabled us to bring this classic enemy into the world of Half-Life Alyx.
I don't need to tell you what happened after that. Lucky break for me, really. Not a lot of survivors. Honestly, it's a miracle you and your dad got out of there.
Did you just speed racing out there? You absolutely did? Oh, that's a lot of these guys.
We got a lot of positive feedback from our initial experiments requiring players to perform a series of physical actions to reload the pistol. Specifically, ejecting the clip, retrieving a new clip from their backpack, inserting the clip into the gun, and chambering around. Players enjoyed learning and improving at this skill. We experimented with using a single button for both ejecting a clip and chambering around, but we found that assigning these operations to two different buttons was more interesting, even though it was more mentally taxing. In fact, it was more interesting precisely because it was more mentally taxing, as players would frequently mix up the buttons under pressure. In the early stages of the game, players would be fumbling for clips, ejecting the clips when they meant to be chambering around, and generally making a mess. To those of us observing the playtest, this looked like things had gone horribly wrong, but players themselves consistently cited this as a high point of their playthroughs. Because of the physical nature of the reload, and the skill required, players blamed themselves and not the game for the mistakes made as they were learning the reloading sequence. In this area, we provide a number of static targets in the form of barnacles for players to shoot at their own pace, increasing the likelihood that they have at least a few reloads under their belt before moving on.
It's nice that barnacles give you a little bit of an ammunition if you manage to get them. Getting rich on resin over here.
a minute? Because, I could pause the feed.
Just looking, Russ.
The fact that he reacts to that is a nice touch. Hey, no. Give this thing to me. I did not put my hand high enough above my shoulder. I think that's kind of the thing that we're running into. Spooky building. Should have another diary somewhere.
I take it the quarantine zone is behind this hatch?
Yeah, that's where they keep it.
I'll look around for a control panel to open it up.
I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It should be somewhere there. Do not enter. I saw a rat over there.
Oh. Ugh.
Buddy. Well, what have you done? Okay, that will do. Nope. Nope. I see a glow over there. Yeah. Nope. Okay. I do have a full health, so I don't think I need to crush a bug. So let's see. Nope.
In prior Half-Life games, while playing as Gordon, the player saw Alyx use her multi-tool to hack into Combine security systems in order to unlock doors or perform other acts of sabotage. This presented an opportunity for us to represent Alyx's hacking skills through VR-centric minigames. All of our hacking minigame designs were built to leverage the independently tracked head and hands common to today's VR systems. We wanted to encourage players to use both hands simultaneously and move their head to create parallax to understand the spatial relationships within the puzzles. This locker hacking puzzle is based upon one of our earliest prototypes, in which the player was tasked with using a tool in one hand to paint a path on a sphere held by the other hand. There was just something fun and unique about using all of the natural degrees of freedom of both hands to solve a puzzle in VR. In its simplest form, this puzzle solution is straightforward, but the difficulty gradually increases throughout the course of the game by introducing static or moving obstacles of various shapes and sizes on the sphere.
That's the control panel. They've probably scrambled the circuit, but considering no one would be dumb enough to open the hatch, it shouldn't be too hard to put back.
Asks for a thing. Oh shit. Okay.
You know, Russell, now that I'm walking into the quarantine zone, it just hit me. I don't know anything about the quarantine zone.
Well, actually, the word quarantine comes from the Italian 40 giorni, which means 40 days, the period that all ships were required to be isolated before crew could go ashore during the Black Death.
All right. Cool.
Oh, you have some pins over here and there. What is this thing? Okay. There are some bug-looking creatures. Well, apparently we did it.
There we go, finally.
I'm gonna head in. How far is Fairview Junction?
You'll go through the old subway tunnels on your way to the train yard.
Have they started moving Dad yet?
I don't think so, which is good news because we've still got time.
Oh, that's great.
Or bad news because they've already killed him. And you don't need to move a corpse, you just bury it. Or burn it. You still there, Alyx?
Yep. Okay, I'm a bit puzzled. Oh, this is just open. See that? Cool.
Russell, are you seeing this?
Whoa.
All right. Here we go.
Enter the quarantine zone. Okay. New level. We have some zombies here, which is super lovely, I guess.
In our early prototypes, players could heal themselves by grabbing a Half-Life 2 health pack and pressing down on a controller button, which obviously wasn't a very interesting VR interaction. During the development of Half-Life Alyx, the Counter-Strike team added health injectors into CSGO as part of the new Danger Zone game mode they were developing. When we saw this, we felt that an injector would work well as an intuitive healing item in VR as well. Players would press a button to arm the injector as a way of indicating their intent to use it. This prevented unintentional use of the injector and gave us an opportunity to showcase how physical the interaction was going to be via haptics, animation, and sound. Some testers even initially responded with dread over the fact they were going to have to use a needle on themselves and looked away when performing the injection action. We also had to create approximations of the player's arms and body, as playtesters all had their own preferences for where they wanted to apply the injection. We even added the ability to inject into the head, since so many players tried to do it just to see if it would work.
I wonder how the save actually gonna work. Can I save right here? Yes, game save. So I think for now we will stop here. So far it's been a pretty smooth experience. We had some rough patches here and there, but all of them are manageable. And yeah, progression in the game, progression with the developer diaries. So pretty happy with how it goes. And yeah, we'll wrap it up over here. Thank you for staying with me. I hope you enjoy my company and my gameplay. If that's the case, please leave me a like and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, let me know down in the comments what I can improve for you. I hope to see you next time. Have a nice day out there, and bye.